As mentioned before, our sense of sight provides us with the greatest amount of information. Our eyes are very complicated organs. Here are the major parts of the eye. The colored part of the eye is called the iris. In the center of the iris is a black hole called the pupil. Light comes into the eye through this hole. The opening of the pupil can be made larger or smaller by the iris. The iris is made of muscle fiber that can lengthen or shorten to control the size of the pupil and thus determine how much light gets in the eye. If we're in bright light, the pupil is smaller than if we're in darker conditions. The cornea is a clear layer of protection that covers the pupil and iris. Behind the iris is a lens that helps to focus the light onto the retina at the back of the eye. The retina is a special area made up of sensory cells called cones and rods. There are about 6 million cones that help us see in bright light. Cones also help us to see colors. There are about 120 million rods in the retina that help us to see in low light. They also see black and white. People living thousands of years ago actually thought that eyes sent out a ray of light that struck an object and then came back to the eye with an image of the object. They thought this way because they saw how a cat's or dog's eyes seemed to glow when they were in dark areas. Today we know that light strikes an object and is then reflected or bounces off that object and into our eyes. As it goes through the pupil and lens, it forms an upside-down image on the retina. The cones and rods that are struck by this light send messages to the brain, where the brain figures out what we're looking at. The brain also flips the image over so that it is right side up. Some people see things out of focus or in a blurred fashion. This can happen if the lens doesn't focus the light onto the retina correctly. People can be nearsighted or farsighted. If they are nearsighted, their eyeballs are longer than normal, and they can't focus on objects that are far away. Farsighted people have eyeballs that are shorter than normal, and therefore they can't see close objects clearly. Glasses or contact lenses can be used to correct these problems. The man-made lenses can be used to help the lens of the eye focus the light properly on the retina of the eye. Some people are colorblind. This happens when certain cones don't work right. People with color blindness can't tell the difference between colors like red and green. This problem occurs more often in men than in women.